But we're not politicians, nor have we got any say in anything that happens around the world. We can just comment on it. Just like David Seymour, except he is a politician. Damn it. He does have some sort of power. Do you know what he wants to do?
Oh no. What?
He wants out of the Paris Agreement.
Oh!
He wants to change
I
it.
did see this.
Or he wants us out of it.
He's also like not
world.
framing it as it should be, of like, I want to shut as many export markets to our farmers as I possibly can.
Well, he and Chloe were on their usual morning chit chat. I don't know how she does it. I would have quit a long time ago, but you know what? She's a better human than I could ever be. And David Seymour has recently said that he does not agree with charging farmers basically a carbon credit equivalent for methane. He believes that our targets for methane reduction are too high and prefers the no additional warming strategy, in which we keep our methane levels the same instead of trying to decrease them, because the methane only stays in the atmosphere for something like 10 years, about a decade, whereas CO2 stays in the atmosphere for much longer. So he's kind of in the camp of this. I feel like it's a very loose science. I couldn't find anything specifically in my very, very small search that was like, yeah, this is the right method. The only thing I could find was that the government put together its own group of people to come up with that solution of, yeah, you could probably do it if you halve the targets. Whereas the Independent Climate Commission said, yeah, no, we need to be here much higher in reducing our methane emissions. Anyways, so he's gone around, found a bunch of farmers that are like, oh, we don't want to pay for this. It's going to make everything more expensive for everyone, blah, 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 blah. And is very much in the firm camp of the theory of let's not make things any better. Let's just keep them the same, basically. So he gets put, the question gets put to him, and let's see how he tries to defend not putting carbon credits or methane credits on farmers. It's going to be really loud.
Right. Let's start with you, David, because you're the ones that have run out with this. Are you just trying to grab some of the vote off NZ First who've already said that they would do this?
Well, I don't want to get into an argument, but actually, you know...
David Seymour doesn't want to get into an argument, Chewie. But the but's coming. Hang on. The butt is coming. But...
get into an argument, but actually, you know, ACT's been saying this all year. I think what's important...
You were saying it at field days, were you?
Actually in February, well before field days. But I don't want to get into that argument. I just make the point to you that voters don't belong to any party. Voters have a choice. What I'm trying to put in front of people is the simple idea that our country feeds about 40 million people. That's how much food that we produce. And yet the Paris Agreement is far too tough on agricultural emissions. The effect of that on New Zealand is that we risk, number one, being poorer, because right now it's New Zealand farmers that are paying the bills and keeping the place going, especially in the current economic downturn. But number two, those 40 million people...
No one is debating that farmers are important, but they are not our only industry. Like these myths, you know, about 40 million, feeding 40 million people. If we don't have agriculture, the whole place falls apart. It's just not true. And it's no excuse for just carrying on business as usual when business is not usual. It's the farmers that are going to be paying the price. So if we're going to be poorer Is it from doing the right thing, or is it having to pay for the cleanup of what's coming? Carry on.
But number two, those 40 million people have other options. And if we make it harder to farm in New Zealand, they get their food from other places where they're actually emitting more into the atmosphere, then we could make the climate worse too. So I think it's about time New Zealand stood up for itself and started asking, where are our friends around the world who also have very methane-heavy emissions profiles, and can we be getting a better deal that reflects the fact that methane actually has quite a different effect on climate because of the way that it degenerates. It's time that we start having that discussion, not being afraid, not saying it's terrible. We need to start being a bit more honest in our conversations here.
We might have...
I smell an Atlas talking point.
Yes, very much so. So methane's actually one of the worst, way worse in our atmosphere than CO2. It is far more potent in far lower doses, right? Basically, and this I don't know how long ago it was. It was a wee while ago. That I found out that because permafrost is defrosting, right? Permafrost.
Oh yeah, this is terrifying. Yeah,
big chunks of that really solid rock ice, basically in the Arctic, and I assume probably also in Antarctica of sorts. Because it's all melting, it's releasing these giant gas pockets of methane that are essentially thwarting is the correct word there. Thwarting our efforts to reduce our emissions targets, or reduce our global warming target of 2% over whatever it is.
So if you're David Seymour, that's the point where you throw up your hands and go, see, it's pointless. We shouldn't do anything.
So it's actually even more important right now that we reduce our methane emissions, not just keep them as is. Yeah, you're right. That feels very Atlas talking point. There's a lot behind yeah.
I'm just sick of this thing of farmers do an important job. They do a hard job. I get it. But when all we hear from the farming lobby is we don't want to pay for it, we don't want to break, we want breaks, we want carve-outs for the way that we've always done things. We want to have our hand out first when the climate comes around and kicks our fucking ass. And everybody else has to pick up the tab. There are a lot of good farmers out there that are rewilding the unproductive parts of their land. They're replanting streams and that sort of thing to mitigate some of these climate effects. Should we talk about the nitrates in the drinking water? Ashburton, Christchurch, all the Canterbury Plains places down in Southland. Their bore water's full of nitrates and it's filtering into the town water supply, and we're going to be looking at an epidemic of bowel and kidney cancers, most likely because of it. But the milk solid dividend is just too good, so...
So after he's spouted these many things, there's a bit of a funny moment. I'll just show you. This is a bit of a funny moment that made me laugh. Just watch
we need
David's
to start
face.
being a bit more honest in our conversations here.
We might have friends who we want to talk to about that, but the only people so far I think that have rejected this agreement are Yemen and Eritrea. Do we really want to be in that sort of company?
It's not actually a fashion show. I mean,
well, but it's a global agreement.
It's also Uruguay.
I'm pretty sure Chloe Swarbrick's got a view on that.
Uruguay.
Yeah.
Look at David's face. He's basically just like, how fucking dare you, bitch? But also, what the fuck is this fashion show comment? Oh, it's not a fashion show. What?
Just let Chloe eviscerate him. That's what we're all here for.
All right. Let's see what she's got to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Paris Agreement is not just about numbers on a page. It's about the scientific limits for life on Earth as we know it. And I just want to make the really clear point that climate change equates to a far higher cost of living for New Zealanders. We see that reflected in insurance premiums being pushed up as a result of a lack of government planning and investment in the likes of climate adaptation, for example. But also I'd make the point that farmers are among those hit first and worst by climate change. If you look at the lack of seasonable predictability, which is happening as a result of climate change, for example, but also if you look at the impacts of the likes of this Cyclone Gabrielle and the likes of the Hawke's Bay. So this is about responsible governance and making sure that we are making decisions that work with the scientific reality, with the honest truth of the challenges that we are facing. But also, to David's point around access to export markets, in fact, our adherence with the Paris Agreement is fundamental to precisely that.
I mean, she makes a good point there, David Seymour. The EU
Doesn't
free
she,
trade
David?
deal, the
David.
UK free trade
David.
deal, they've all got provisions in there that say we've got
Did you
to
hear the
honour
good point,
what
David?
we've signed up to. You're a free trade believer. Why would we be reversing out of that argument?
I mean, let's unpack. First of all, you think it's a good argument. That's your call. Second of all, I believe in free trade, which means I don't like governments restricting what people can trade.
I just wanted to play that wee bit. Yeah, just the fucking thing of like, oh well, that's your opinion. Blah 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 blah.
I want Ryan Bridges back. Where's Ryan?
That's what I
like
got
looking
from
at
this.
his hair. He's
That's
nice
what I
to
got
me.
from
You're
this.
mean.
That is exactly what I got from this. Watching this interview, it felt like, hang on, I usually go on this show and I usually get a free pass. In fact, he's even like finishing my sentences. Like, what is this? Who is this bald man in glasses who basically just cut me off? And looked at me sideways multiple times, by the way. Would you like to continue with this?
Yep.
Or would you like to? Yes? You want to hear more of what he has to say on this?
Yeah, go on.
All right, let's see how he defends the free, the cost of breaking our Paris Agreement, versus continuing and actually meeting our obligations.
Governments restricting what people can trade. Third, that you're basically proposing that governments should place a restriction conditional on Paris, but more importantly here,
Well, no, I'm just saying they have, haven't they? We've signed up to that, so why would we back out of it now?
well, we might decide that we need to renegotiate it because it's not fair on New Zealanders. And I just make the point, if
Yeah, New Zealand, us little guys at the bottom of the world. I mean, sometimes, yes, we do minimize us and our place on the world, but seriously, us, we're going to negotiate the terms of the Paris Agreement. With some of the world's, like, economic powerhouses. Yeah, because it's affecting us. What the fucking hell, Seymour? Like, he's so up himself. That's pretty much it.
That's his whole
Right.
vibe.
All right, I'll continue.
here on New Zealanders. And I just make the point, if we want market access, it's up to the people who produce. It's up to the Fonterras, it's up to the meat exporters to work out what exactly is it that their customers want. That's what New Zealand farmers have been doing for a very, very long time. I think what's really important is that we make sure that we are realistic about the science. And so when Chloe says it's not just numbers on the page, actually you do need the numbers right. And we have a real risk that we can drive New Zealand farmers out of business. We can cover New Zealand farms in trees.
What?
We can end up with our customers getting their food from places that actually emit more, and everybody ends up worse off. So to the extent that you're worried about the things that Chloe raises, for example, to the extent you're worried about weather events making insurance more expensive, well, that's why it matters that New Zealand gets it right and we get a fair deal that reflects the proper science on methane.
Well, you're going to be getting a good run.
So he's apparently a methane expert now, apparently.
admits enough of it.
There's so much in there, and it gets worse as well. We're getting close to 11, and I don't really want to go into more of it. But
I don't think anybody wants more David Seymour. So,
unfortunately, he gets even more airtime too, because Chloe
he does.
Chloe cuts out. So unfortunately, we don't get to hear a rebuttal from Chloe. But yeah, just this idea that the reason that the Paris Climate Agreement or a Climate Accord exists is so that we have a whole world, the whole globe, as much of the developed world as possible, paying attention to the climate crisis that we have, which is legitimate crisis in which we have many decades of science to back it up. It's a real thing. It's to hold each one of us accountable to fixing it so that the next generations after us actually have a livable planet to live on. Because the planet will still go on without us. We will suffer the consequences. And it might not be us that feels it. It might be us in our old age that feels it. The current politicians fucking probably won't have to deal with much of it, other than, you know, the yearly 100-year flood and, you know. But, like, the whole point of the agreement is that we all hold each other accountable. And that it costs us economically if we don't meet the requirements.
I'm going to paraphrase the great David Longy that I can smell the methane on his breath.
Yes. Just come back from field days. Yeah. It's very concerning how much he is pushing this Trumpian narrative of, nah, we don't want to be part of that. Nah, we gotta, you know, libertarianism, you know, people's free will. Farmers should decide whether or not they produce methane or they don't produce methane, blah, 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 blah. And, like, it's a hard debate. Yeah, there's a lot of cows. It's hard to ask farmers to, like, reduce their stock or find other ways of making money when their entire business is based on cows.
Look,
But there are ways around it. Others are doing it.
I don't know how much this was a fig leaf to we're trying or whether it was a legitimate line of research, but a lot of our agricultural research was looking into grass types that would lower methane emissions or breeding essentially a more efficient cow that farted less. I mean, I love that. Can you imagine that coming up on a first date? So what do you do? Oh, I make special cows that don't fart so much. And it's important because I am literally saving the world. Please sleep with me.
I'm saving the world by genetically modifying cows. Oh, it's so hot. Yeah. But hey, it'd be kind of cool. Make us a lot of money, wouldn't it, if we could produce a cow that farts less?